Ladies and gentlemen, it is a good day when the first thing you see when you pick up your phone on a Monday morning is an email from EdoMod, sending you a copy of his latest map. This map was initially made for Farming Simulator 22, but from the very start there was always a plan to extend it, and over the last couple of years that's exactly what EdoMod and Sbaffo Farming have been doing. Every building on this map has been lovingly designed and textured from scratch, without using any materials from Farming Simulator's default maps or any other source. The textures have been crafted in an almost artisanal way, thanks to photographic excursions to create a unique visual experience that is faithful to reality. It really is a masterpiece, this one. This map is for PC only and will be released on Saturday, May the 2nd at 7 AM. I'm FARMERSIM, and it gives me great pleasure to present to you Deutschland for Farming Simulator 25. So, when you jump into the map for the very first time, this is where your character spawns, just to the side of the train platform here, but right in front of this absolutely breathtaking old German town. Now, of course, if you played Farming Simulator 22's version of Deutschland here, you'll be no stranger to this. This was around, this is part of the original map. But if you are new to Farming Simulator 25 and you haven't picked up an EdoMod map before, I suppose prepare yourself, perhaps, because they are absolutely breathtaking. The level of detail that goes into every square inch of his maps is just incredible. It really is. As you can see, I mean, just look at this. It's just mega. I mean, I played Farming Simulator 22's version. I did a series on there. I've spent a lot of time on this map, but even so, I still turned on this 25 version and turned around and just wandered around. Even though I've seen it all before, in a way, back in the old version, I still had to just wander around and just take in the level of detail and the amount of work that EdoMod and Sbaffo Farming have put into this one, because it is just mega. I mean, just look at this, for example, the little details. Look at the tree rings there on the end of that beam. You'll find this level of detail everywhere across the whole map. It is just mega. It really is. Now, with the map is, of course, available to, like I said at the beginning, it's going to be available to download on Saturday, the 2nd of May from 7 AM from EdoMod's official website. Please make sure that you only download the map from now on and into the future from EdoMod's website. If you find it on any of the scraper sites, please don't use that source. Make sure you only download it from EdoMod's site. Alongside the download, of course, there will be an additional option, and it's entirely optional. It's not mandatory. There are 2 texture packs that you can purchase for a couple of euros, and that just help to turn the map up a little bit, as it were, when it comes to the detail of the textures. There's a medium resolution texture pack which comes in at 256 pixels. That's kind of twice the standard of a standard Giants base game map. And then there is a high definition texture pack as well at 512 pixels, which is roughly 4 times the standard of the pixel resolution of a Giants map. So available to download for a couple of euros each, price of a coffee maybe. But if you can, I highly recommend you do. Of course, you know, they've done a medium and a high resolution texture pack to cater for as many different systems as PC systems as possible, which is great, and it is also an incredible way of being able to support EdoMod and their team and their future endeavours. So like I say, if you can, I really do think you should, because yeah, it just turns this map up to 11. I am running the high definition texture pack here, and just taking in these tiny little details, having a look at the brickwork on the walls here, the timber beams. You can see the tree rings there on the edge of the piece, on the end of the pieces of wood there, the timber beams. It's just incredible. It really is. They don't have to do this level of detail, but they do in every one of their maps. Just look at that. It's absolutely incredible. The textures in the rendering there on these old buildings, the detail in the wrought iron coloured signs there, dotted around the map on the side of these buildings here, the flower baskets there on the window ledges. Just breathtaking. It really is. And it all adds up to make this map, and to make an EdoMod map, just so very special and so very immersive and just next level. It really is. So the map has been extended. This is it's called the FS25 extension, which we'll go and have a look at in the PDA in a second or two. But yeah, there's essentially twice as much of the map now compared to what there was in the Farming Simulator 22 version. There are 4 farms. There are 4 alternative starter points. We'll go and have a look at each of these in a bit more detail very shortly, of course. But you've got 4 farms, 4 alternative starter points. There are 7 sell points plus an animal dealer, and there are 8 production systems, production sites on the map. That is including 2 BGAs. There's a very large BGA and a much smaller BGA that's kind of part of one of the built-in farms. So we're going to go and have a look in the PDA first, and then we'll have a look at all the farms and the alternative starter points, and then we'll have a look at the sell points and the productions. So PDA first. Right, here we are in the PDA. This is where we currently stand outside this little town here in the roughly in towards the north of the map. Now, what's new on the map in this FS25 extension is essentially this whole southern half. Now, in the original FARMERSIM 22 version, if you look at my mouse cursor over here on the far right-hand side of the PDA, it was roughly about here where the road system ended. The road did go off here, but you were stopped by the 3 icons that sit across the road there. But yeah, this is where the map ended here, and if you follow my cursor, it was roughly the border of the map originally was kind of around here, down here, and then it kind of came around. I think this road might have been here, but it came round and then finished off roughly about here. So this whole area of the map down here is new. There are approximately 32 new purchasable areas of land all down here, whether that's field, arable or forestry. There are a few forestry areas on the map here that you can purchase. Plot 73, for example, there. Yeah, you can purchase quite a lot of forestry if you wanted to get into a bit of logging. And there is a whole new town down here that does include one of there's a whole new farm down here. So that brings the total of workable farms on this map to 4. Originally there was 3, and there's obviously there's a sell point in here, but again, you've seen the detail very briefly of what I've just shown you here in this town, just the couple of buildings we've seen, and the same goes for down here. We'll go and have a look at this obviously in a bit more detail, but down here there's a couple of production systems. You've got a composting factory, which is really interesting, unique feature of this map, and there is of course a large BGA down here as well. So that's essentially what the extension includes, but it is, as you'd expect from an EdoMod map, it is just gorgeous. The custom everything on this map. There's no standard. You won't recognize anything from a standard Giants base game map or on any of the assets or buildings or anything like that. And everything on an EdoMod map is custom. The fences, the buildings, everything, and it's just what makes it so very special. So, a very quick overview of the PDA here. I'm just going to overlay very briefly. This is a view of the custom soil map for precision farming, because of course it does support precision farming. So this is the a brief overview of the custom soil map. And so yeah, that's pretty much that. And this is the PDA. But it's a beautifully laid out PDA. There's some decent sized fields. It's a 1x map, of course, but you've got some decent sized fields. You've got, I think, the largest field that is now on the map is field 93 down here, which comes in at just under 23 acres. I think previously the biggest field on the map might have been 38 here at 15, just under 16 acres. 51 here is quite a big one, 15.5 acres. But yeah. But you've got a nice variety of field sizes. You've got some nice small ones, grass fields over here. But yeah, I'd go for, if I was picking the size of the machinery that I'd use, especially if you didn't want to turn the traffic off on the roads and stuff. It's small to medium machinery, in my personal opinion, of course, to work this map. But if you wanted to, you can turn the traffic off and get some big stuff out, of course, if you wanted to. But yeah, so we'll now go and have a look at all 4 of these the farms individually, and then we'll have a look at the sell points and productions and what else the map includes. So the first of the 4 farms, this is considered the starter farm. You can enter it via this lovely big gate here from the little old German town from just up the road from where we started. So opening the gates, this is the Mainzerhof. Now this is considered the starter farm. It's designed for players who want to solely focus on field work. There are no animal barns on this farm. This is just plenty of sheds and storage space. You've got a 200,000 litre grain silo, which we'll have a very quick look at up the road in a second. There's a sleep trigger, and there's also a large machinery shed that you can buy separately for about 235,000 euros, which does include a workshop trigger as well. So you've got a sleeping trigger there outside the door, but again, just being involved, I suppose, in this lovely old farmyard here. Plenty of storage space here for some small, medium-sized machinery underneath the building here. A bit more storage over here. This lovely old shed, which does provide a little bit of storage in here. You could probably put some relatively small stuff in here. This is quite a small door aperture, I suppose, so you might get some small equipment in there. But either way, it's still a beautiful old building, isn't it? Let's be honest. And when you come up here, up the little lane, you've got another vast storage shed here, which is just... Forgive me for keep going on about it, but again, it's just the detail in them that make them feel so authentic. But in here, lovely old timber barn. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. It really is. You'll get some decent size, decent load of equipment in here again. Again, the door apertures aren't massive, so you're not going to get huge stuff in there, but still, it's a lovely old place to store your machinery. And here is your 200,000 litre grain silo. Here we are. And this is the area that is purchasable separately, as I say, for about 235,000. I've got a bit of machinery in here. You can get some big kit in here. The door apertures are pretty big, but as you can see, you've got the custom EdoMod triggers, which are dotted all over the map there, and the workshop trigger is actually down the stairs here, because you've got another workshop trigger down here, so if you park some vehicles within this area as well, you'll be able to work on them both. Here's the management point. Click on that, and as you can see, pretty much most of the things that we've got up there on that ledge up there, you can work on and maintain from down here. But again, it's just a lovely high detailed building, this, it really is. But just look at the textures in the staircases as you go up and the walls and stuff. It's just mega, it really is. An EdoMod map is an exceptional map for Farming Simulator, it really is. I suppose if you played the likes of Etruria and Map Italia back on 22, you'll be no stranger to stuff like this. But for those of you who are new to Farming Simulator, who've picked it up with Farming Simulator 25 and you haven't seen an EdoMod map before, they're incredible. They really are. So yeah, a very quick overview. This is Mainzerhof. So we'll go and have a look at the next one now, which is just up the road. So the next farm is the Mundenhof. Now, Mundenhof is very much an animal-focused farm with, you've got chickens, you've got sheep, you've got pigs, and you've also got a beautiful cattle barn that is for beef stock. So there's no milk production on this one. There is a 500,000 litre silo, which is just in front of us here. Now, this one will require a side-tipping trailer. Now, this is the farm that I based my series on in Farming Simulator 22. So this is I suppose the farm that I've got the most experience of playing on. But just look at the detail. It's again, it's incredible. It really is. But you will need a side tipping trailer. There's the tip grate for the silo there. So when you pull in it, you can get a normal trailer in here if you wanted to. You can kind of fiddle it into place, but it's a little bit awkward. You do really, if you wanted to play it properly and experience it properly without having to faff around, you will need a side tipping trailer to tip to the left there into the grate, depending if that's the direction that you come into the silo, of course. You've got this lovely old kind of workshop here that does contain a workshop trigger to work on your vehicles. You've got plenty of storage space for some decent sized kit in here, and then it's the nice kind of contrast between the new building here and then the old, considerably older buildings here that make up this whole farm. Now it's got quite a decent footprint, this farm, and one of the things I do really love about an EdoMod map and the farm is the inclusion of their custom pallet and bale storage facilities that are dotted all over the place. You'll see one of them here. That red icon there is where you can load in your bales. I've got a couple up there, but you load in a bale or a pallet and it automatically stacks itself into here, and this is your management point here. You just click on that, and as you can see, I've only got 2 hay bales in there, but you can see where I'm going. You can access your bales and your pallets from here, and when you bring them back out again, this is where they spawn. Now, you'll have heard the sheep bleating there. Now, this is where your wool spawns from the sheep. And again, it's a lovely feature that I do appreciate about an EdoMod map. Everything's just kind of built into each other, so it's not separate, as it were. So the sheep, when we can see them, and again, another feature I really do love about an EdoMod map is just the way everything kind of blends into each other. But this is the sheep barn here, where you can load in some feed for them, and the pastures just through the exit there, but you can come down here from these steps from the little shed up here, and that's where your wool spawns. And from up here again, you can have a look down and see your sheep pasture there. And this here is actually the manure spawn point, sorry, as you can see it down there, for the pigs that are over there in the shed. So we go over here, like I say, we've got chickens, you've got sheep, you've got pigs. This is where you feed your pigs. You pop your pig feed, tip it into the grate here. It gets fed through the pipework that you can see run up, attached to the rafters of this canopy here, and into the shed here, where you'll see the pigs. And it's just great, that level of detail and the way they've constructed the farms, I think, is just absolutely brilliant. It really is. This is where you can access your pig menu, of course. This can hold up to 50 pigs, and that's where you place your straw. And this is where you deal with your chickens, where your eggs will spawn. I love the way that the chickens, again, just roam relatively freely around the yard. That's where you feed your chickens. There's a couple of examples of this around the map, where you have chickens. You'll have this kind of silo that you need to tip using a telehandler. You'll have to feed them from the top and tip it into this little the silo there. And as you can see, I overfilled them and it just spilt onto the ground beneath me. So yeah, but yeah, and then we got this beef stock cattle barn, which is just, again, the detail. You've got a pallet and bale storage facility that stores your products up there on the mezzanine. You can access that from the trigger points at the other end. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Now, this is, if you look at this mechanism here, this is a manure scraper. We'll have a quick demonstration of one of these shortly, because there's another cattle barn on the map that has these as well. So we'll have a look at those in a bit more detail, because these were present on the Farming Simulator 22 version, but they're just really, really clever, and they're just brilliant. They really are. So yeah, this is the cattle barn, and it holds up to 116 cattle. And as you can see there, you've got your straw point, your straw trigger, and you will need, on quite a few of the animal barns on the map here, you will need a straw blower in order to provide straw into your cows or your pigs. And this is the trigger point here for the storage facility that you've got up on the mezzanine there. I think I've put up a couple of bales in there. Yeah, a couple of straw bales that do spawn just at the very top, very back there, but you can pretty much fill that right the way up, because it does take quite a few. I think in total, what will it hold? Oh, it doesn't actually. Oh, there we go, 250 items it'll hold, which is pretty decent. But yeah, and there's your animal trigger on the other side of the gate for this custom beef stock pasture. Now, I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail for each of the farms, because I feel if you haven't played this before, especially, you need to explore a lot of it for yourself. So there's so many features about all of the farms that make them so very special, but I just want to give you a relatively brief overview of what each of the farms include. So Yep, a very brief overview of this second farm, the Mundenhof. Now we're going to go and have a look at the next one, which is up on the hill, and this is the one that has a purchasable separate biogas plant as well. Oh, there you go, bit of a silage pit here that's included on this farm as well. But yeah, let's go and have a look at the next one, the third one, which is called Lindenhof. Okay, here we are at the third farm, the Lindenhof. Now, this is a dairy farm, and it features this absolutely incredible modern art masterpiece of a dairy barn. Just look at it. It's absolutely incredible. I can't help but feature this on thumbnails that I do for this map. It is just something to behold, it really is. This will hold up to 270 dairy cows. Obviously, it's a dairy barn, so it does support milk production, of course. And you do also have a couple of these manure scrapers, which, again, I'm going to put into demonstration on another cow barn that's on the map, which we'll look at very shortly. But this farm does, like I say, it's got this modern art beauty here, but it, in stark contrast, sits in front of these old buildings here, which are just brilliant. This farm does have a separate purchasable small biogas plant. You can buy this in for about 540,000 euros if you wanted to. Nice, it's decent size, of course. You roll up the ramp here to tip your products into the hopper there, and you've also got a silage pit there, of course, as well. But yeah, purchasable separately, doesn't come with the farm initially. Purchasable for about 540,000 euros. But you've got this lovely old huge barn with some decent sized storage space inside, featuring again one of the custom pallet and bale storage facilities here. But yeah, it's just, the models are incredible, they really are. Bit of a workshop trigger at the end here as well. It's just difficult to know what to say about them without risk of just repeating myself, but just, again, the detail is just groundbreaking. It really is. You've got a sleep trigger and a wardrobe trigger out the side here, and then over here you have your 1 milliliter silo, again with some decent storage space to the side. But yeah, this has a capacity of 1 million litres, so it's a nice big capacity silo there. And on the other side, the other end of the cow barn here, you've got your Lilybot for automatic feeding. You've got your area for tipping your silage, your straw and your hay. And then at the far end, you have an area for tipping in your mineral feed, and of course for tipping in your water to give them a drink. And that's pretty much that for this farm. And then you've got your animal trigger just over the end here. And as I say, it holds up to 270 dairy cows. So that's decent size. You've got the little pasture out the back here, which is great. But yeah, just look at it. Really, really special, this one, it really is. Now, of course, like I said, I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail on every single one of the farms, because I feel there's so much that you all need to explore for yourselves, especially if you're new to the map and you haven't played on the 22 version of this. You need to explore this for yourself and just take it all in, because otherwise this video would be hours long if I was going to go through every single detail and every single thing worth looking at on the map and on the farms. You need to experience it for yourself, you really do. So, let's go and have a look at the fourth farm. Right then, we're down in the new area of the map. We're right on the bottom southeast corner of the map, and this is the new town, which is called Unterbrunn, I believe. And again, just look at it. Just take it all in. It's absolutely incredible. It really is. Things like this. This is a detail that, again, it was included in the FARMERSIM 22 version of the map. But details like this on the road textures, they can see there's a slightly darker coloured tarmac texture that's got the tar that's kind of sealed it all in like it was a bit of a road repair. Details like this that they don't need to be added in, but they've added them in because it just shows and gives life to the town that it's been here. Again, it's been here for ages. I suppose in true German style, the roads are impeccably maintained, lovely quality. There's no potholes or anything like that. But you can see you can imagine that there's been some work done to the road, and this bit's been filled in and dealt with. And it's just a level of detail that doesn't need to be there, but it is, just to make it feel like it's been here for ages, and it's brilliant. So, anyway, very, very brief view of the new town here. This is the fourth and new addition to the farm lineup. This is the Eichenhof. The Eichenhof is focused on pig and sheep farming, but does also have chickens. You've got some lovely storage space again. Beautiful timber detail here on this relatively new style shed for storage. Bit of machinery in here because I've just obviously just to deal with the animals that I've loaded in here for the demonstration. This is where your chickens reside. You again feed them from the top of the silo here. This is your animal loading point you trigger. This will hold up to 50 chickens, and they roam freely around the yard here. This is where your eggs spawn. Now down here is, it's kind of a split between the storage shed here and your pigs. This is where you feed your pigs into the hopper here, load up your pig food, and the management point here for that. Now this is for the manure storage here, which you can, again, it's a thing that you can jump into. If I bring up the F1 menu here, you can jump into this. Look at that, it's even got the EdoMod logos on the side there, but you can jump into this. If I bring up the, you can turn on the conveyor belt, and if there was any manure in here, I'd be able to load it into the trailer that I've got sat below me. But yeah, it's, again, levels of detail that make these EdoMod maps so very special. We'll look at these manure feed machines as well in a bit more detail again at the cow barn. There's another cow barn to look at that's separate on the map. But over here we have our sheep that, again, blends nicely in with one of the pallet and bale storage facilities that you can put up on in the rafters on the mezzanine up there. But this that'll hold up to 250 items as well. And then you've got your sheep pasture, which can hold up to 44 sheep. There's your animal trigger. That blue trigger there is where you load in some water to give them a drink, and in here is where you can load in some bales of hay to give them some feed. But yeah, really, really nice as well. Just beautiful. Like I said, I've played the FS22 version of this map for quite a long time, and even coming into this 25 version, spent so much time just flying around, taking everything in again, especially the new bit, of course. Double the size of the map now. But here we are at the pig pasture, the pig area, and this is where you can load in a straw bale. You don't need a straw blower to feed these pigs some straw. You can drop in a bale there and get them sorted through there. So that's great. You've got a couple of silage bunkers there, and you've also got another kind of loose grain shed, maybe for root crop storage in here. Got the ventilation grates on the floor there, if you wanted to tip some loose product in here. But again, really nice size, and again, it's just taking in the detail, the lighting, the wood beams, the fresh timber wood beams. It's just so very special. It really is. So let's have a quick look now at the 4 alternative starter points. Now forgive me, we do have a grain silo here as well. Just include that very quickly if I can squeeze through here. This silo is empty. I'm not too sure of the capacity of this silo at the minute, I'm afraid. But yeah, this farm does come with a grain silo and plenty of storage space as well. Beautifully laid out. You've got this lovely kind of electric gate to take you out into the town there, and some lovely detail. There is one sell point in the town just round the corner here, which is a fruit and vegetable sell point. But yeah, so very special. It really is. The level of detail is just incredible all over the map. Right then, the alternative starter points. We're up here in the very north of the map again, and this is the first of the 4 alternative starter points. Now, this is very simple, I suppose, very basic. It is just a sleep trigger that sits in front of this gorgeous old building that is nestled nicely in amongst the trees here. So it's perfect for a real basic starter career, I suppose. You've got your sleep trigger and you've got your wardrobe trigger there, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't, the doors aren't interactable, you can't open them or anything like that, so you've got no storage with this, but you just have this gorgeous little area here, little building. If you were just new to the town, I suppose, starting off a career in that respect, it's just a lovely place to start off and build your career. But again, just taking in the detail of these stone walls, for example, the details on the timber and the rendering, it's just special, so very special. The details on the lanes here, the cobbled brickwork, blockwork, just so very special. So yeah, very brief overview, but that's the first of the 4 starter areas. The next one is that building there, so we'll go and have a quick look at that. We're just taking in the details of the stream coming down from the hills there. Just incredible. So let's have a look at the next one. So this is the next one. This comes with a sleep trigger, a wardrobe trigger, and you do get a bit of a storage shed here. And it's a decent size. You can get a couple of bits of equipment in here if you wanted to start off a little bit more than what you could start off with that first one. Now this plot of land comes in at €60,000. Forgive me, I meant to mention that that first one comes in at 36,000, that first starter area. Plot of land, but this one does also come with a plot of land as well. You've got this grass field here, field 2. So you've got a little bit more to start off with. You've got the shed, you've got the triggers there, the sleep and the wardrobe, and you do also have this field of grass, so you could maybe start off creating yourself a bit of silage to earn a bit of money. But yeah, another alternative starter method on the map here. Again, just the architecture, the old buildings and stuff is just beautiful, really is. So much immersion to take in. And here's another example, like I mentioned before, there's no standard Giants base game anything on this map. Custom fences that align a lot of the fields and border a lot of the land on this map. Everywhere, just custom everything. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, here we are at the third alternative starter point, and this plot comes in at 428,000 euros and consists of this gigantic workshop here, which has got plenty of space for loads and loads of equipment, some pretty big if you wanted to start off that way. You've got a workshop trigger there. I've got the telehandler in here because that's, again, I've just had that there because that's how you feed your chickens through the top of the silo there for feeding in the grain. But just look at this one. This can hold up to 300 chickens, and it is much like that dairy barn over at the Lindenhof farm up the hill. This is a work of art. Absolutely gorgeous. Really is something very, very special. So yeah, you can start off down here if you so wish, maybe as a bit of a contractor perhaps with that massive shed. There isn't a sleep trigger down here, but you can certainly put one in if you wanted to. But this plot does also come with this field here as well, so you do have a bit of field work to get cracking on with. Currently has carrots in, ready to harvest. So yeah, you can certainly start off with a little bit more than the previous two if you wanted to. Decent workshop space and storage space, bit of a field, and get a bit of an egg empire going on down here, because you'll no doubt have quite a few eggs in the future with 300 chickens in here. But yeah, something to behold, that it really is. So very special. So yeah, relatively quick overview of the third alternative starter point. Let's go and have a look at the fourth now. Okay, we're right down in the new area of the map, on the south area of the map, and this is the fourth alternative starter point. This is relatively straightforward. This area comes in at 44,000 euros and consists of this decent-sized silage bunker down at the bottom here underneath the shed. And of course, the shed, a nice little more custom fences. Slightly different to the other ones that I've seen so far. But yeah, you've got this decent-sized shed with 4 kind of bays in here. That's pretty much what it consists of. But again, simple, old, relatively historic, I'd imagine, but beautifully detailed, and a really nice alternative starter point if you wanted to start your career on this map. Up here, really, really nice indeed. So yeah, not much more to say about that. Beautiful old shed, silage bunker. Relatively affordable plot of land to purchase, like I say, about 44,000 euros. Nice areas to start off with. So, on top of the 4 starter farms and the 4 alternative starter points, there's also a couple of extra areas on the map that offer you the ability to keep some cows, essentially. So, you've got this area that sits in the centre of the map. This will hold, it's called the small barn. This will hold up to 73 cattle. I've left the gate open here. Now this barn doesn't produce milk. It doesn't have the capacity to do anything with milk. So this is essentially for putting your beef stock out to graze, I suppose. But it's a beautiful thing situated in the centre of the map. It does come with a field. You own this field as well when you buy in the plot. The plot comes in at 104,000 euros. So you've got a grass field here to work with, and you've also, like I say, you've got a pasture here that will hold up to 73 cattle. But yeah, it's a lovely thing. Comes with one of the standard issue, I suppose, on an EdoMod map, the custom bale and pallet storage facility. But yeah, I suppose needs pretty much not much more of an introduction than that. It's a beautifully situated thing, just out in the middle of the map, in the new area of the map, and it's lovely. It really is. Gorgeous model building, this. It really is. Even just check out that. You've got the little bird house, little bird box, sorry, on the side of the cow barn there. Little bits of detail. Oh, there's another one there in the tree. Haha. I hadn't noticed that before. Just those details. Absolutely incredible. It really is. So yeah, for 104 grand, you can have a little pasture out here in the middle there to put your beef stock out to graze. And next up, you've got this huge dairy operation that you've got here. This plot of land comes in at 768,000 euros, so it's a bit of a whopper when it comes to the price, but you'll make your money back eventually because this is huge. This will hold up to 285 cattle, dairy cattle, if you so wish. And this is where I'm going to put these manure scrapers into a bit of a demonstration once we've had a look at this place. But it's absolutely massive, this. This is, of course, we're looking at the trigger here where you load in your mineral feed. Now, this does come with the one of the automatic feeder robots, which is great. If we have a quick jaunt into the barn here, again, just taking in the architecture of it, it's absolutely incredible, this. It really is. You've got multiple straw blowing points here. They all add up and work as one, essentially, but you've got individual straw blow points here. You will, of course, need a straw blower to get in your straw. Up on the mezzanines on both sides, you'll see the red trigger at the end there. The triggers there for the bale and pallet storage facilities that are dotted all over the map. But yeah, you've got your milk production on the left here as you come out the door. That's where you pick up your milk. And over here you have your feed systems for the bot, the robot. You've got your hay, you've got your straw, and you've got your silage. And this is the bot here that goes on its little journeys now and again through the barn, feeding your cows for you, which is great. But yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful one, this. It really is. But we'll put these manure scrapers to the test here and show you what they do if you're not familiar with them, because they're just a brilliant detail. Now, something I mentioned, but there's actually a couple of points I meant to mention earlier on in the video. First and foremost, that the map does support a couple of custom crops. You've got alfalfa, triticale, soybean straw, alfalfa hay, and compost. I think I did mention the compost. We've got a composting factory, but we'll go and have a look at that very, very shortly. But these manure scrapers are absolutely brilliant. So you get into them like a vehicle. So if I bring up the F1 menu there and I come up to here, as you can see, we get the enter vehicle option. So I press square. There we go. Now I can't actually move the camera. Once you're in, and I can't actually rotate the camera around here. But if I bring up the F1 menu there, and you can see the option for send the scraper. So I click on that now. We don't actually hear anything, but as you can see, that scraper has just appeared in front of us, and it's loaded the manure into the ground under the grate that was originally. If I jump out the machine now, the scraper wasn't very far down the road down there, as it were. I think because I jumped out the vehicle, it had stopped. But if I go over here to the manure pump now, so if I enter this vehicle, there you go, it's automatically taken the manure that was scraped out of the barn, put into the pit under the concrete here, and it's now fed it into the trailer that I've got sat waiting under here. And I think that detail is absolutely brilliant. It really is. When I jump out of the vehicle, you've actually got two scrapers. You've got one on this side and you've got one on that side, and they essentially go into the same quantity under the ground here, and then you jump in that and load it into your trailer. It's absolutely brilliant. It really is. But yeah, this is the another area that it doesn't come as part of any of the other farms. You can just buy it on its own for 768,000. It does come with this field here as well, so you can get to work on the grass work and produce some silage. But yeah, you've got a decent sized field 81 here, if that's what you wanted to do. And it does also come with a couple of silage bunkers as well attached to it on the side here. So yeah, plenty to do on this map. There's so much to focus on, so much to do. And this is in the new area of the map. If I jump into the PDA very quickly and show you, zoom out a bit so we can get our bearings, this is where we are here, just down the road from the new town down here. So yeah, cracking stuff. Absolutely awesome, this one. So, a quick overview of the sell points that are on the map. You have the Agro DE here, which you can sell various grains and products at. Next door to that, you have the District Heating Plant, where you can sell some straw and your wood chips. Then over in the original part of the original town, that was part of the original part of the map, you've got the Gasthof Low here. You've got the Hirsch Kniep. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm probably not. And then you've got the Biergarten here. And then over towards the very far east of the map, you have the Gasthaus Alter Hirsch. And then down in the southeast of the map, you have this one sell point called the Obst- Gemüse, or fruit and vegetable, where you can sell, of course, your fruit and veg. And then down here, as part of the original part of the map, you have this incredible looking animal dealer, which is, again, a beautiful big building. And next door to that, you also have a bale sell point. So that's what pretty much constitutes the sell points on the map. Right then, let's have a look at the production systems that are on the map. There are 8 in total. That's including the 2 biogas plants. The first one here is the bakery. Now, what makes this one a little bit unique compared to most normal bakeries that we've seen in Farming Simulator so far is that this one requires firewood as an ingredient. Now, you can either buy in the firewood. If I go into the vehicles menu very quickly, we scroll right down to the bottom to the objects section and then to pallets. you'll see, if you scroll down, you can buy in pallets of firewood for €1,000 if that's something that you wish to do. And if we go into the production systems menu and have a look, as you can see, the bread flour, bread rice flour, cake flour, or cake rice flour all require a bit of firewood as an ingredient there to get what you want out the back end of it. Now, like I say, you can either buy in those pallets of firewood, or if you wanted to, you could buy in and own the carpenters, which is over here, that you can use to produce firewood. So again, if we have a look in the productions menu, you can buy this one in, I think the bakery is €200,000. This carpenters comes in at €150,000. This is the custom area where you use to tip in your logs, your wood, which again is a beautiful thing. It really is. You can see the big trigger point there for dropping things in. You can either sell to here if you don't own it, or if you do own it, of course, that'll go into your production system. But if we go and have a look at the carpenters very quickly, you can make your usual things, your long planks, your prefab walls. You can make firewood from normal wood. You can make the empty wine barrels for the winery that we'll have a look at very shortly. You can also buy in those empty wine barrels if you didn't own the carpenters here. But as you can see, you get firewood out the back end of pretty much all of the production systems here. So you throw of the menus here, sorry. So using wood, you can get your long planks and firewood, your prefab walls and firewood. You just get firewood if you wanted that one. If you were making empty wine barrels, you'll still get firewood out the back end. Planks plus firewood, and of course wood beams plus firewood. So it's a unique feature of this map, that firewood as an ingredient for your bakery, if that's what you wanted to go down. But like I said, you can buy them in as well if you so wish, if you didn't own the carpenters. So a brief overview there of the bakery and the carpenters here on Deutschland. Next one to look at is this beautiful mill. Now just look at that with the old water wheel here. Now we're actually stood on top of the dam that goes across the river here, which is again something to behold, really. You've got this water trigger, public water use point here to refill your water tanks if you wanted to, if you needed to give your animals a drink. But yeah, this comes in at €200,000, this production point, if you wanted to buy it. And as you can see there, relatively self-explanatory. You've got your tip areas or your input areas to tip to or to sell to, and you've got your output area to get all your products out the other end, and then you've got your management point here. Now if we jump into the menu and just have a very quick look at the mill in the production menu, pretty self-explanatory. Does what most mills do on Farming Simulator. You can get flour out the back end using barley or oats or long grain rice or sorghum or wheat, pretty much. So if you wanted to produce flour, this is what you want. But again, just taking in the detail of the building, it really is very, very special. Like I say, especially with that lovely old water wheel out the back, with the river running behind it. Properly special, that one. It really is. So yeah, €200,000 buys you this mill. Right, next up is the dairy, situated next door to the bale sell point and the animal dealer, just over the railway track there. But yeah, this comes in at €250,000. And aside from it being a beautiful custom building, of course, on Deutschland here, it's a dairy. It does what a dairy does. So if we jump very quickly into the menu and have just a quick look, it does what every dairy does. We can produce bottled buffalo milk, buffalo mozzarella, buffalo milk, goat milk, cheese, bottled goat milk, goat cheese, or bottled milk. Pretty much, again, relatively self-explanatory. But yeah, you've got your tip points, your trigger points here. But again, just a lovely custom building. Loads of nice bits of detail out the side. A few workers' bikes parked in the bike racks there. And over here you've got your product point where you get your outputs from. But aside from that, doesn't need much of an explanation, apart from just enjoying looking at it. Beautiful building, really is. So that's the dairy. Okay, sat next to the dairy, just down the road, is the dealership. And again, plenty of detail. I love the fact that you've got some proper actual vehicles from the game just sat outside. We don't own these. You can't get in them. You can't rent them. You can't use them. They're just here for decoration. But proper high definition, full resolution quality models and vehicles. Bit of a telehandler there on display. A couple of tractors out in the parking spaces there. And then you can walk inside where you've got your dealership triggers. And again, just a few vehicles on display here. Bit of a vineyard tractor and sprayer. Big harvester and a drill for everyone to look at through the windows. But yeah, beautifully modelled and detailed dealership here. Just thought I'd briefly show that to you. Right then, so we're down at the very south of the map now at the massive biogas plant and composting centre area. Now this is really, really cool. Compost is a unique feature of this map, and it has been programmed in to work perfectly with precision farming as another fertiliser. So if you own the composting centre, this is where you'll tip in. It's like your tip trigger or your cell area, whatever. And if we jump into the menu very quickly and have a look at the production system itself. So you throw in sugar beet cut, grape production waste if you were to own the winery, or the olive production waste, silage, solid digestate, which is a product that you get out the back end of the big biogas plant that's next door, or wood chips, and you get compost out the back end. Now, compost, like I said, is a new alternative method of fertilizing on this map. Now, it's supported by all the base game manure spreaders, which is really, really cool. So, essentially, you use it like a manure spreader, but you load up here with compost, and you can spread it on your fields. Now, I'm going to overlay a bit of a video here now where I've gone into another save because I've got precision farming turned off on this particular one. But this one we've got precision farming on, and I'm running a manure spreader that contains compost. And as you can see from the map heads up display in the bottom left hand corner there, the level of fertilizer on the field is increasing with precision farming, and it works perfectly well, and it seems to be lasting quite a long time. It's not like a typical manure spreader where it just seems to empty in moments. It seems to be quite economical in that respect, so it's really, really clever, and I really appreciate that about this map. So it's something unique. You can make some compost, and it's brilliant. It really is. So yeah, composting factory in Deutschland here. Just next door now at this massive biogas plant, you've got some huge silage bunkers to take advantage of. And much like most biogas plants, I suppose they don't need much of an introduction, but this one does produce an extra product being solid digestate. So if we jump into the menu very quickly and have a quick look, so obviously you've got wine and grape production on this map, so you can put your grape production waste into your biogas plant plus some slurry, and you get your usual electric, your methane, your liquid digestate, but of course your solid digestate as well, which, like the compost, works in manure spreaders, and you can throw it on your fields as a fertilizer. Got your grass and slurry to produce the same, your hay and your slurry, your manure, olive production waste and slurry, silage and slurry, straw and slurry, sugar beet cut and slurry, and wood chips and slurry. And again, you get the same products out the back end: electric charge, methane, liquid digestate, and solid digestate. So yeah, not much more of an explanation needed for that one. Typical biogas plant, but you get some solid digestate as well, which is unique to this map, and it offers a bit of an alternative to spreading fertilizer on your fields. And last but not least, we're up at the winery. Now, this is situated amongst several individually purchasable vineyards that's all sat around us here. If I'll show you very quickly in the map PDA, there we go. But yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 separately purchasable vineyards up here. If you wanted to take advantage of a bit of wine production on the map. But this is it, a work of art. These legs that hold up the roof here kind of remind me of engine valves, but it's such an incredibly made building, this. It really is. So, quite simply, you've got your input area here, which, yeah, where you will put in your empty wine bottles or your wine barrels. Now, of course, you can purchase those empty bottles or wine barrels from the vehicle menu separately if you wanted to. So if we go into the vehicle menu quickly, scroll right down to the bottom to others, go to pallets, and you'll see you can purchase in the empty wine barrels here if you wanted to, or you can purchase in the empty bottles. You can also make those, as I mentioned before, with the carpenters. You can make the wine barrels there at the carpenters, but you put those products in there, and then over here is where you'll tip in your grapes, and where you'll see spawn here is your wine barrels or your wine bottles. But that's pretty much a very, very quick explanation of how this winery works, but it's just something to take in, isn't it? It really is absolutely incredible. Just jump into the production systems very quickly and show you the winery, because I do own this one. But yeah, you can make red wine and red wine barrels, which is great. One thing that EdoMod did put out on his Discord as a message to us when he was sending out this map for showcasing in the last few days, what a message that they have put it is, regarding white grapes, we have decided not to implement them. They are essentially just a colour variation of red grapes and do not introduce any new gameplay mechanics. On the other hand, they bring several technical issues, especially in processing stages, particularly with production chains. For this reason, we decided not to include them in the Deutschland map, so that's why we can only make the red wine and the red wine barrels. As for apples, orchards are currently not implemented. We are waiting to complete a new harvesting tool, which will be much more advanced compared to the one available on the Etruria map. Once it's finished, apple orchards will be added in the future to the Deutschland map for Farming Simulator 25. So that's a really nice thing to have as a note in the background, I suppose. In the future, when this map does receive an update, we will eventually be seeing the addition of a new harvesting tool that they're creating for apple orchards and some apple orchards. So that's really quite interesting, something to look forward to. I did have a bit of a go with the apple orchards on Etruria, and it's with the, I think it was called the Swan harvesting tool, which was like a toe behind thing. Seemed to work really, really well, but it's just a nice bit of a change to have apple orchards on a map. So yeah, something to look forward to here on Deutschland, seeing some apple orchards. Right, we'll have a bit of a jump into flight mode now and just have a bit of an overview of the map from above, so you can kind of take it all in and get a feel for the lay of the land, especially if you're new to Deutschland, of course. But what a map. This is so very special. Where we are here to the right of us is the new area of the map. What's below us here, this is all the new area of the map. Just there is that fourth starter, alternative starter option for a bit of a farm there. There's your composting plant and your biogas plant. Handfuls of forestry plots available to purchase across the map, but this is, I think, this is the largest. No, this one here. This is what I think is the largest area field on the map now, field 93. But yeah, loads of new land to work with now. They've built a huge amount of new features into the map since the 22 version. As I say, working over the last couple of years. But yeah, the lay of the land, the topography, as it were, sits really nice. It's not flat. There's loads of ups and downs and undulations, just contoured really, really well. You can just see the original town there in the distance, the winery there with the vineyards around it, the original part of the map up there with the animal dealer there, the dairy, the dealership, Agri-DE there. Yeah, this is a beautiful map. And there is the new town in the distance there, Unterbrunn, I think, if I remember correctly. And that alternative cow barn, the new barn there, dairy barn. So well laid out, it really is. An absolutely gorgeous map. I did a top 10 favourite maps, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I think I called it that. And had this already been out, this would absolutely have been on that in that top 10. This was a big favourite of mine in Farming Simulator 22. And it's right up there now in Farming Simulator 25 already. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say a relatively brief. I'm not actually too sure exactly how long this video is. Now, I've not wanted to try and skip things, but I haven't wanted to include every single bit of detail that this map includes, because I feel it's for you guys to go and explore and appreciate and find things for yourself and just fully take in and appreciate the level of detail and the amount of time and work that has gone into creating this absolute masterpiece of a map. So yeah, I've just wanted to give a brief showcase, show you what the map contains, go through the farms, the starter options, the production systems and the sell points again very briefly. But there's so much for you to take in, like the details of the new town and stuff down there. Yeah, there's so much to explore that I just wanted to touch base on it, as it were. Show it you that when it's coming out, and hopefully this will have whetted your appetite for you to go and give the map a download when it's out on the 2nd of May, 7 AM on EdoMod's website, and go and enjoy it for yourselves, because it's absolutely incredible. This, it really is, as you'd expect from EdoMod, an absolute masterpiece. So I've got to give a massive shout out, of course, to EdoMod and the team for giving me the opportunity to showcase this map ahead of release. A massive thank you to you guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is so very special. You've done an amazing map here. You really have. So very special. But for this video, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it here. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed this video and found it a little bit of fun and a little bit interesting. As always, if you're new to the channel and you've liked the video and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please hit that like button too, as it does do wonders. Helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And if you like the idea of supporting the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do that. There is my Giants Partner promo code, if any of you are in the market for purchasing Farming Simulator 25 or any of its add-ons or DLCs. There is coffee.com, if you'd like to buy me a coffee. And of course, there is my G-Portal affiliate link if any of you are in the market for an online server to play with your mates. Any help and support there, guys, would be massively appreciated. So, thanks again for your time again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.